What's up guys, Mickle here, and earlier today we had an unconfirmed source come out and say that next Monday there was going to be meetings between the SEC and Ripple regarding settling the ongoing Ripple SEC case. In this video, I want to give you my opinion on that date, let you guys know whether or not I think this is accurate. Now I'm also going to show you some opinions from some very popular lawyers in the XRP community about whether or not an event like this is even realistic right now in this case. Make sure to stick around for that. There's some very important things I need to cover here. Towards the end of the video, I also want to show you something shocking that just came out of Ripple. A high up member at Ripple just confirmed that we were on the verge of a massive financial meltdown. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video to see that. You are not going to want to miss this. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Make sure you take a second to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It's really going to help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP or the Flare token, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. Guys, before we jump into it, I just have to give eWin Racing a quick shout out. They sent me this chair for me to try out and record these videos in, and it is absolutely phenomenal. I told them I wasn't even going to review the chair if I didn't like it. I actually absolutely love this thing. Prior to using it, I was using a different chair, some cheapo one I got off Amazon. It was destroying my back. This is the best quality chair I think you can get for your money. This thing is phenomenal. So make sure if any of you out there are looking for a chair, you check out this company. There's going to be a link in the description of this video that's also going to give you 20% off, which really does make it super affordable. So make sure to check that out if you're looking for a chair. I wouldn't even have reviewed this thing if I didn't think it was awesome. So I want to start out this video and actually talk about a rumor that was completely blowing up on Twitter earlier today, and that is that Ripple and the SEC have an undisclosed meeting set to take place on Monday, May 8th. Now, the person who tweeted this out actually said that this meeting was regarding a settlement in the Ripple SEC case, and the second I saw this thing, I was obviously extremely skeptical. First, I mean, obviously an undisclosed source automatically makes it seem like it's BS, but more importantly, I just want to share you the thought process I went through that really made me understand it probably wasn't real, because I think this is going to help you guys, one, better understand where we are in this case right now, but help you guys better evaluate tweets like this or information like this going forward. So the main reason why I instantly knew that this probably wasn't real, regardless of the whole undisclosed thing, I mean, obviously, if they're not naming a source, it's probably not real, but it's important to note that the stage where Ripple and the SEC would have settled kind of already came and passed. They already both put forward their summary judgment briefs, they've both seen each other's arguments, and now they're both waiting for Judge Torres to make a decision in this case. It really doesn't make any sense they would have waited this long and then suddenly out of nowhere settled, because if the plan was to settle all along, why would you wait this long? Obviously, any day Judge Torres could come out with a decision, so it wouldn't make sense to wait this long and settle out of nowhere when you had so much time to do it before. Unless one party had a random revelation out of nowhere, or we had like a new SEC chair or something like this just really isn't that realistic. Almost every single lawyer I have seen talking about a settlement in this case has stated that if there is a settlement, it's going to happen after summary judgment. At this point, what we know is both parties saw each other's entire arguments, they likely met to talk about a settlement, and nothing happened. They couldn't come to an agreement. And if they were going to come to an agreement, this case would have already settled, but because we are now waiting for Judge Torres to rule on summary judgment, obviously we're already past the point where these two parties would have settled. Now, what can happen, and John Deaton specifically pointed this out, is we can have both parties see the summary judgment decision, come together, and then make a settlement based off that summary judgment decision. Maybe the summary judgment decision has certain parts of this case going to trial, and maybe Ripple doesn't want to go to trial and is willing to settle parts of this case to make it so they could just end this thing. Or maybe Judge Torres makes it clear that the SEC has to make the Bill Hinman Ethereum Free Pass emails public, and the SEC says, okay, we cannot do that. Ripple, settle with us right now. We'll say XRP is not a security, and we promise we won't appeal this to any higher level court. We'll leave it as is. XRP is not a security, so you get that, and we don't have to give out the Bill Hinman Ethereum Free Pass emails. So obviously a lot could happen via a settlement after summary judgment already comes out. And I've been saying for a while now, and if you've been watching this channel for a while, I've been making this point abundantly clear. This is something Attorney Fred actually told me a while back. At this point, it makes sense that the SEC would just wait for summary judgment. At the end of the day, Ripple likely knows XRP won't be ruled a security by Judge Torres, and the SEC probably knows that too. But at this point, it makes a lot more sense for the SEC to wait and see because they hold a very important thing on their side. And the important thing the SEC has on their side is time. They can always appeal this case if they really want to, or at least threaten to do that. Because they have that threat, if things go really bad for them, they can ultimately just give Ripple the only thing Ripple really cares about, which is clarity for XRP. They'll get a fine from Ripple too via a settlement, so the SEC will make some money, and they can throw on top of it things like saying, we are not going to hand out the Bill Hinman Ethereum free pass emails. Maybe things like early days of XRP, those sales were security to kind of give the SEC some leverage to go after other projects. Ripple would likely be willing to give all this stuff up simply to hear that XRP today is not a security and simply to get out of any appeals by the SEC moving forward, and that's what a settlement would do for them. So as you can see, there's really no incentive to even settle the case at this point. It makes so much more sense that we would get a summary judgment decision, and then either that's the decision going forward, boom, it's locked into law, or Ripple and the SEC come together and settle after the fact. So that's the main reason why I knew right here after reading this, I'm like, this is not real. There is no way there's going to be a settlement before summary judgment. So just understand, the logic I just told you is really a consensus among most of the lawyers in this community. So if you see secret meetings about settlements and stuff like this, just understand at this point, I think there's zero question in anyone's mind that we are going to get a decision from Judge Torres via summary judgment prior to anything else happening. And when Judge Torres comes out with this decision, I don't think a single person in the world knows that right now. Now, there are some predictions out there for when Judge Torres will administer her summary judgment decision, and Ashley Prosper has been doing a lot of work in studying this. Now, there's something called the 6-month rule. You've probably heard it by now. Essentially, Judge Torres can't wait 6 months between two of her rulings, and essentially this is just to make sure judges don't stall cases forever. So based on Ashley Prosper's research, that would kick into effect around July 4th. Now, Judge Torres has never been on this 6-month list before, so it's very likely she's going to rule before July 4th to make sure she does not get on the 6-month list, but this would be the absolute worst case scenario, and I think most people don't expect Judge Torres to really push it to the limit. It's really not her style to do this. Typically, she rules a lot quicker than up until the last deadline. So Attorney Fred actually has a prediction of around June 9th as the worst case scenario in his mind. He says he would be absolutely shocked if we did not get a ruling by June 9th, but Attorney Fred also thought, as he says right here, that we would have already had a ruling in this case. But obviously this case is dragged out longer than anyone has expected. So the good news is we really are on the back end of a lot of these predictions. Let's hope Judge Torres' ruling is imminent. I think all of us are very tired of waiting for it. And I want to finish this video off and cover some serious turmoil that could be right around the corner. Now, obviously, unless you're living under a rock, you've probably seen a lot of the banking turmoil going on recently. We have seen 4 very big banks go under in just the last couple months. And just so you guys know, a lot of people think these are small banks. The total amount of deposits that have went under from these 4 banks that just happened in the last couple months is already larger than what happened in 2008. Now, obviously, the whole system is a lot bigger now, so by scale, it's really not as big yet. But just understand, this is no small bank failure. This is pretty big already. And I thought this was extremely interesting. This was just put out by the head of Ripple's CBDC initiative, Anthony Welfare. And just so you know, the reason I mentioned his title right there is because this dude is meeting with central banks all over the world talking about CBDCs. So if anyone is in the know about what these central banks are thinking, it's probably him. And he was actually responding to an article where Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, was saying the banking crisis is over. Well, Anthony Welfare tweeted out, "Love the narrative. This is just the beginning. Check Pac West for the next big fall. Slow motion economic train wreck is happening here and now." Now, this is shocking to me. First, that he would even just put this on Twitter, which I really appreciate it. This is fascinating, but this dude is in the know, and it looks like he thinks things are about to get a lot worse than they already are. And now that I look back at this CNBC article, Jamie Dimon saying that the banking crisis is over probably means it's not over and there are going to be more to fall. So I just thought this was very interesting. I needed to bring it to your attention because obviously if things start to get worse, who knows what could be right around the corner. Obviously, there's going to be some massive changes. Anthony Welfare seems pretty convinced of it. And if that wasn't enough for you, it looks like the United States actually just had to move up the date in which they are going to go over their debt limit, which now looks like it's going to be June 1st, which is months earlier than anyone has expected. I have a feeling this is going to turn into a nothing burger. I think they'll figure this out. But guys, there are some massive things right around the corner. Things have been a little quiet recently, but I think things are about to ramp up big time. Let's see how all of this plays out. I don't necessarily know if all of this is going to cause some massive dips in the market. Obviously it could, but there's also a chance that this stuff has been so well forecasted that people just know it's coming, because the fact that I'm talking about this, the fact that you guys now know about this, might mean this is already mainstream. It might already be priced in. Let's see what happens. Obviously, there are some big things coming around the corner. We're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does mean so much. And for now, Mickle out.